Hey everybody, welcome back for the next installment of iSPI Hacks. We're hacking all this VC life over here, and we've got Daniel Gambrell. He is an associate with Illinois Ventures, and in this video, he's going to tell you how venture funds are structured and why it's important for you to even know that. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that he can share his.
Thanks, Sarah. And so VC fund structure is important to think about because it determines the types of companies we look for. Like we said in the very first video, VCs are professional money managers, which means the money we invest isn't our own personal capital. We have to go get it from other people. And so legally, you have this entity that's called a venture capital fund. And venture capital funds are organized as what's called a limited partnership. That limited partnership has what's called a general partner, or a GP, which is the venture fund. And that GP manages the limited partnership, which means they collect fees and they look for and search out investments, and they make all these investments here. They manage those investments, and then they try and exit those investments and return the capital back to the LPs, or the limited partners. The limited partners of a venture fund are the investors. And these can be any entity or person that's what's known to the government as an accredited investor. I'd have to double check, but if I remember right, the latest rules, an accredited investor is if you're single, you make $200K a year at least. If you're married, you make $300K a year at least, with the prospect of making that into the future, or you have $1 million in liquid assets outside of your home, right? So only a very, very small subset of people can actually invest in venture capital funds. Other types of, besides sort of those high net worth individuals, the other entities that invest in VC funds or can be these limited partners are organizations like endowments, foundations, family offices, insurance companies, certain other like public companies invest in venture funds. But it's those very small subset of investors. Also, pension funds can also invest in venture capital funds. So that's just the structure of a limited partnership. But why does that matter to you? Well, it matters because in order for VCs to stay in business, they have to make sure their limited partners are happy. And so the typical life of the limited partnership has a lifetime. It's typically about 10 years, possibly can be extended, but that 10 years is when those investors want their returns, right? They're not investing their money indefinitely. They want to get those returns. Unless you get the returns, you can't really do anything with that capital. And so that 10 years factors into the types of companies we look for, but then it also factors into the types of returns we're looking for. So in general, the limited partners in a venture fund are trying to get 2 to 3 times their money at the end of the day. So for every dollar they put in, after 10 years, they want $2 to $3 back at a minimum. And if venture funds aren't generating those types of returns, they typically don't stick around. Now, earlier in some of the videos I mentioned, we're looking for companies that have the possibility to make 10 times their money. And that's because even if I invest in 10 companies that I think I will make 10 times my money on, half of them will fail and I'll lose all my money. A couple more I may make my money back on, but I still haven't covered all my losses yet. Maybe the next 2 or so, I'll double or triple my money on that. Which may, if I'm lucky, get me to break even, but I still haven't made any money. And typically out of every 10 companies, I'm gonna have what's called a home run, which isn't going to be 10x, it's hopefully gonna be 20, 30, 40x. And that will pretty much cover all my losses and generate all the returns of the fund from that one company. So if you're familiar with baseball, there's a term, sort of your slugging percentage, and that's sort of like how many home runs are you hitting? And so in VC, we're interested in not like how many singles or doubles you're hitting, but how many home runs are you hitting? And if you hit enough home runs, you'll be successful. And to be successful, that could be 1 out of 10 you're hitting a home run, depending on the type of home run it is. And so this fund structure, who our investors are, the types of returns they're looking for, dictate the types of companies we then look to invest in. And different funds, as we talked earlier, decide different stages or sizes or sectors of startups they want to invest in. But at the end of the day, they're looking for startups that can generate those types of returns over that time period. And so that's that fund structure. That's why it matters to you as a founder, thinking about why in the world should I even engage a VC, by the type of company they're looking for, and really, what is the VC's incentives in this, right? VCs, as professional money managers, have some incentives that are guided by the limited partners, which is important for founders to know as they're approaching VCs and considering taking investment. So that's today's vid, and we'll see you at the next one.
Wow, that's really interesting and kind of exciting to think about. I didn't know that, Daniel. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you everybody for following along, and we'll see you for our next iSPI hack video soon. Bye.